Hi.
Hello.
So I haven't even fully gone back and listened to that episode, but I'm pretty sure it was a shit show.
It's alright. It was the pilot for a reason.
Was probably cringe to a lot of people. It was all over the place. As I was driving today, I was thinking, like, I started saying something multiple times and never finished the thought. And I think that is pretty much what happens all day long. Does that happen all the time?
Yeah. And that happens when it's also unscripted. We don't have, like, a bullet point of things to touch on. We just kind of
I'm not gonna lie. I started.
Oh my.
And then I stopped because there's no point. But I do want to try to go in some type of order because I need order.
We both do.
So, yeah, I mean, I think too, if we talked a little bit about what we're doing and about how long it's been, but
yeah,
let's back up and kind of give people just like a timeline of where our nightmares started to where we are now, like just very brief, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
So the start is March.
March 2024.
Yes. And then for 3 weeks we were in New York.
And we reside in Ohio.
Yes. From Cleveland. We were stranded in Buffalo. One of the worst places ever.
Sorry to anybody.
Sorry,
who
Buffalo.
live there, but
the people are amazing.
Some.
Your city is trash.
We have a lot of thoughts on
The driving is horrible. You guys have a horrible track record for accidents.
I'm not going to go down the road that I want to go to the other things because that soapbox should not be pulled out publicly. But the people, more people that we came across than not, were really truly amazing and touched our lives. Like, I think that's a good maybe starting point is let's do some gratitude because as nightmarish as this has been, I think that you and I have done a really good job of trying to find the good things and to find a gratitude. And if it were really not for a lot of people, we would not even be here. Luke would not be here. We would not be able to be doing what we're doing on a daily basis with each other, with him. And I mean, we thank the nurses, which I don't think we can thank them enough. Mm-hmm. And ladies and gentlemen, we have your picture that you took with him. First of all, we didn't know that you took it. Yeah. So that was...
We asked for it, and then, oh man, I got it texted to me on our drive home from Buffalo to Cleveland while he's being flown in a plane. We're driving
separately in the rain.
In the pouring rain.
Wind like it was a tornado starting.
Worst. And I get a text from one of the nurses, and it's a picture of a bunch of them with him sort of bawling.
And keep in mind, like, he's still in a coma, but they, like, we just had said, hey, if somebody... We didn't even ask for them to take a picture with him. We just said, like, we want him someday to know who you guys are. And can anyone that's willing take a picture of yourselves, and we will, like, gladly put it in his journal album that we're creating for him. And then you got that text, and that was really emotional, and you printed it out, and it's on his room wall. And
he looks at it all the time.
Every day, multiple times a day, he looks at it. Yeah. And we definitely want to, at some point when the time is right, bring him to you, ladies and gentlemen, just so that he can offer his gratitude to you as well, because we cannot say enough amazing things about you guys, and so thank you. And then I'd also just like to throw the shout out to Grace House because that was a whole blip that we had been meaning to do a social media post just shouting out their praises, and we never did just because life, but
so much stuff happened one right after another that it just like slipped the mind.
And they were such a huge gift to us and in a time of need, and we didn't even know that places like that existed, and here they exist everywhere, all over the place.
Yeah.
And it even lit something in us of like, one day we would like to be able to give back in that capacity, whether it happens or not. It just was like, wow, this is awesome. And so yeah, talk about Grace House, because you guys had the first initial like interaction there.
Yeah, so Grace House is this place in Buffalo that's for people whose families are in the hospital and you don't have anywhere to stay. Like, it would have been ridiculous for us to live out of a hotel for 3 weeks, just financial wise. And there's this little house that's run by these amazing people that was founded because of somebody in a similar situation where they needed somewhere to stay, because a family member was having treatment, and they were amazing. They were our home for 3 weeks. Easter came and went while we were there, and they had an Easter dinner for all of us.
Which was really, so in our family, holidays are a big thing. Get-togethers are in general. We are a loud, crazy family, and sometimes we can only be all together for small amounts of time. But before we all are like twitching and need a breath of air.
Detox from all of each other.
But holidays were always a big to-do, and none of us were in a place where we wanted to even begin to celebrate without Luke. And so it was hard being in Buffalo away from the rest of our family, but like the four of us were together. And just after a really long, hard, emotional day, I guess every day was, but going and having there be a table set up with Easter decorations, and we each had little Easter baskets at our table setting.
It was the most beautiful thing ever. I have photos. We will
meal.
attach them.
Yeah, they went above and beyond to love people where they were at and really offer them grace. And it was a safe space for us to process and grieve every night in the upstairs level where your room was. You guys had like a whole loft area, the biggest area.
The biggest living room for just like the three of us.
And we would just have our nightly powwows. Sometimes, I don't know, we probably didn't get a lot of sleep because we were up till sometimes 2 or 3, and then we'd fall asleep like in those areas.
Yeah.
Before we would be like, oh my gosh, okay,
we have to go to bed.
But yeah, it was really hard conversations that we had to have every day, all day, and just having that space to do it and feel that safety was just really such a gift. And then we got to meet a really amazing couple.
Mm-hmm.
Like her son was in an accident the same time almost.
Yeah.
An area as Luke, and so
we got really close with them.
Yeah, her and her husband, we met at the hospital, and we learned a lot from them. We gained wisdom and friendship, and having someone immediately be able to understand what is undescribable, you instantly create this connection and become family. And so they were such a gift, and they also were staying at Grace House. And I remember when we got the text that they had gone home, and we didn't get a chance to say goodbye to them because it was all like a long-term thing for all of us. And we were crushed. We cried when we went back because not having them at the house was really hard.
That first night back there, it was just like emptier without them there, because like we would see them in like the common areas and like they weren't there anymore. But then we also got to go home a couple days after that. Which was really nice.
I think so we were really glad that they got to go home, because obviously it meant that their loved one was being discharged and going home. But it was sad for us. We were selfish, but yes, it also lit a fire and more belief and hope in us as well. Like, let's make this happen, and we did. And we did it the day before our dad's birthday too, which was special. But yeah, so Grace House was amazing. The nurses were amazing, and I have to say there were certain things like the flight company. Granted, they weren't located in Buffalo. They were really amazing. Dealing with them, all of these things were very overwhelming, and you just felt this weight of, what if I do something wrong? What if this is not the right thing for him? Because doctors did not want us taking him back home. And that was a fight the entire 3 weeks we were there. And we obviously knew he was critical and he needed to stay stable, but that was always the plan. And so we fought hard, and every day felt like we lost a battle when the answer was no. And so the next question was, okay, where are we transferring him to? And it was really nice. My cousin was able to kind of help me with some things. I talked to some other people and just made a lot of phone calls. And there was one point, I remember one day where I literally made phone calls for a good 4 hours straight while you guys were like back there with him. And by the end of it, I just remember being so discombobulated. I did not even remember what I had talked about with each person. Thankfully, I had taken really good notes, but I remember all of us just sitting there being like, okay, so the decision is, and it ended up being made for us because only one of them would even take the insurance that he had, and it ended up being the right place.
Yeah, the best decision for him was Metro.
Yeah, which that's a whole other list of gratitudes. That could be 2 episodes in itself.
Seriously, just like naming people. The list goes on.
But yeah, so every interaction that I had, even with all of the hospitals here back home, Luke is over there taking notes.
Yes, he's taking notes on my iPad.
Because we're not we need to keep it together today more.
And he will throw something at us if we get out of the line.
And I will tell you, we are a hot mess if you haven't already figured that out. And sometimes we do things without having them. It takes us a little while to work out the kinks, let's say, okay? So
you did it again, didn't you? It's okay. It's a kink that we're working out. She wasn't recording. And in 3, 2, 1, the audio is going to get a lot better.
So he's writing again.
It's like, bitches be so dumb.
So there are, outside of you, Anthony and Luke, and then probably our sisters, there's maybe 1 or 2 other people that know what a hot mess I am. I have not let a lot of people invited them into this for a lot of reasons. But should those people ever listen to this, they will be like, you know what, Kristina? Snap the fuck out of it and get it together. Rightly so. I learned things the hard way. So
that's just life.
3rd time's the charm. I'm gonna hit.
As he's throwing the pen. Are you not confident in us?
Are you disappointed, brother? Okay, so we're working out the kinks, but this time the video quality should be better.
Yeah.
The audio quality should be better.
Test.
Lighting hopefully will be better. Hopefully everything will get better each episode.
It's gonna be like a normal TV show. You know, the pilot is rocky and the quality is bad, and then as the season goes on, it gets better. Yes.
And I will not be embarrassed that I don't start off like...
Great right out the gate.
Yeah. That's just not how I do.
That's not life.
But yeah, so that's our small batch of Buffalo gratitude.
Oh, and I have one more.
Oh.
The Buffalo Baseheads.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
because
yes.
the EDM community has shown up for us like none other. You guys blew us up on TikTok and showed
Venmo.
So much love. Yeah, TikTok, Venmo, our GoFundMe. Just the messages of love and support, the comments.
Like, well, let's, you know what, that's a great segue. Let's go into the EDM community because that's where this started. So you guys were all at a concert seeing an EDM show. So EDM, if you guys don't know,
electronic dance music.
But Luke, that was safe to say one of Luke's first loves. Since he was young, he got into that scene and he was into all the festivals, and he slowly, one by one, has pulled you all into that world. I'm one
pulled us into the web.
I was the biggest resistor for several reasons, which is a different podcast altogether. But I always knew that the community was beautiful. He had only had wonderful things to show for it, and just the family that he had in them, I was very grateful he had them. So it was pretty cool watching a lot of you one by one fall in love with that community as well. And so that was something, you know, a few years prior you guys had gotten into. It brought him so much joy to share that with his favorite people. So getting to go to Buffalo with some of you in more of an intimate setting where it wasn't a festival, it was actual just concert for the night, and having 4 of those people be newly introduced to it, he was so stoked. And he at the time was going through a new breakup of someone that he felt at the time was the love of his life, and so he was in a very dark place of just healing through that and doing a lot of self-work, and then having this big thing to look forward to. He was so pumped about this. And so
we talked about it a lot prior. The texts that I have between us, it's like, can't wait for Excision, asking if we got the tickets yet, and we would talk about it all the time. And he was so pumped to introduce us to Jordan and Kayla.
Yeah. Shout out to Jordan and Kayla. Kayla, if you don't already know this, I think that Luke was probably, still is, in love with Jordan. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was super pumped, and he was the only person that was single going on this trip, and I remember him so excited the day before saying, I'm going to be the third wheel with 4 couples, and normally going through a breakup, just his mindset at the time was fuck love, fuck relationships, you know, like I'm still like that. But he was kind of in that place, and I remember him saying to me, it's so awesome that I'm actually so excited, to share this with all of them, to have all of them meet each other. These are all different groups of people that I love, and sharing something that I love. And then they're all in love, and I'm happy for them. They all have great relationships. And I'm not upset to be the single guy. This is going to be really awesome, and I'm going to have the best time. And that was just really special to hear from him, that perspective that he took into it. But yeah, I mean, talk about Excision, talk about the response from the EDM community and just what family-oriented it was, because, yeah, that was something beautiful in itself. And being someone that was kind of, I'm outside the EDM community, I was just brought in a beautiful way.
It still boggles my mind how everything went, because it was, I'm going to make this video, and it's not gonna do what it did. I didn't expect it to do what it did.
So for TikTok?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the community showed up how they show up, with peace, love, unity, and respect. And they showed support and love and gratitude and shared it. And it even got to some artists who we've seen and love, and they shared the story and they donated, and
they've reached out.
Yeah, they check up on us. Yeah. They send messages. I'm friends with some people now and creators, and it's the love that is in the EDM community is unparalleled to any other that I've ever seen.
And I know we've talked about this before.
It feels more like family than family does sometimes.
It's difficult because words will never do it justice. And I know we've talked about this before because you guys have described it, and that's how I feel with my writing community of people that I've met in, you know, different places. And so I have felt that in similar ways, and it is something really sacred and really special. But having them show up for us was just, like you said, unparalleled. It was beautiful. And, you know, so many people were just, I'm over like all the finances for everything, which was just, it still is overwhelming. But I mean, you know, this is weird to say, but there would be, the plant just fucking moved. The plant moved. Yeah, so back up an episode, you guys. So many. But we talked about like spirits. And we'll get in this down the road, but we definitely have some loved ones, their spirits with us. And one is fucking with us now, as they do. And we're here for it.
It's gotta be the fucking plant, too.
Yeah,
gotta
of
be
course,
that
that's how
fucking
we know.
Plant.
But, yes, so the donations. We've got a lot of very big, large donations from people, and you just don't know what to say by people's generosity. But I remember the first $1, it was like $1.50 on Venmo donation, and there was a message with it, and then cute little emojis, which, give me a GIF and an emoji and you've got me for life. But that to me made me stop in my tracks, because you are someone who doesn't have the means to give, and you still were able to sacrifice that $1.50 to give to someone that you've never met. But you heard the story and it touched you and you want to show up. And there was a lot of different things like that and donations that came in like that, but everyone had these messages. And don't get me wrong, I've appreciated every single amount of donation, every penny. People dropping off paper towels or toilet paper. These things are huge. The meals, every single thing has been a gift. But yeah, those just kind of really stopped me in a different way. But yeah, EDM community, thank you. Thank you for continuing to show up and for...
I'll never be able to thank you guys enough.
Some of you, like,
insane.
Again, I'm outside of the EDM community, but some of you still, like, check up on me, and that means so much, because I have people that have been in my life a good portion of my life, and they don't check up on me, and so that you showing up for someone that you don't know and continually, consistently being there matters, because there's been a lot of people in our lives that don't show up. And I will say some of them have said it's because they don't know how, or maybe we don't reply as quickly as we should, so maybe they don't feel valued and appreciated. But that hasn't stopped the others. And so there is a march. We see that, we notice, and we just kind of process all that. So yeah, is there any other thank yous, gratitude? Gosh, we could just keep going.
Yeah, that should be a whole episode in itself.
Can we just do a portion of everyone that's gratitude? Because I am so corny, you guys, and lame.
Gratitude segment.
Gratitude changes everything. It changes your perspective. It rewires your brain, and we're all about rewiring the brain.
Yes, we watch a lot of Gaia.
We just also do a lot of research. That is the thing too. We are really a power dynamic duo. And I think I started saying it, but I'm really grateful for it. But we are fluid. We operate really well together. And I'm thankful because the position that we're in and the circumstance that we're in, there is a lot of tension. There are a lot of hard moments. There are a lot of things that if we were partnered with another person in that moment, it could turn into a fight and escalate negatively. And we both have experienced that, and it's been really hard, an hard added layer, and just creates extra conflict in relationships. That's been hard, but I don't know exactly why we're so good together, but I'm grateful. And
so am I. It was meant to be this way.
It was meant to be. But with that too, from the very beginning, one of the ways that we are similar, first of all, even though we're both neurodivergent, we're both different, which everybody is, but we both have such different strengths, which is good. And we know that. We recognize where each other's weaknesses are, and we don't get power trips. We're not fighting to be alpha with each other.
No, it just kind of works like, it just like waves.
Fluids. Yeah. And but from the very beginning, something that we were both very adamant about was researching and deciding that, hey, we are going to err on the side of belief, because you can be on either side of what if, and we're going to choose to be on the what if side of he will have a complete healing recovery. That's what we chose. Yeah. And with that, we knew that we had to empower and equip ourselves with knowledge and education
to be able to do whatever we can possible for him.
And knowing that brain injuries are so unique and individualized, there is also so much about the brain that is unknown, but also so much that has become known with technology advances. And so we made it our mission from the very beginning, to journal, like literally take notes on everything, whether it be our notebooks, our phones, our tablets, our devices. We were avid note takers from the very beginning.
Everywhere, chaotically.
Because we also knew we would forget information.
Yeah.
We were overloaded. But we made sure to find the success stories. We weren't looking at the negative things. We weren't looking at the people who didn't survive or stayed in comas. We only chose to focus on the stories of triumph and perseverance, no matter how long it took, and to look at the different options available to us and to healing a whole body. And along that journey, we also realized that we ourselves needed to be healed and rewired, because this has totally dismantled us to the core.
Yeah.
And so
fundamentally, like who we are as people, completely changed.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that I love about you, is that you have been willing to be like, we both said it on the other episode, we're not okay, and that's okay, but we're also both not okay with remaining not okay.
Yeah.
We want to excavate and heal and get better, and not just be okay with unhealthy behaviors and patterns. And so that's something that I really appreciate about you, that we're on this mission together to be like, no, if we need to fully break open and hit rock bottom and complete metamorphosis, no matter how painful that is, then so be it. Let's do this. Let's roll up our sleeves, because we refuse to be victims.
Yeah, and we have each other, and we lean on each other a lot to be able to get through things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think I would be able to do any of this without you. And there's no way.
No, there's absolutely not. And I remember in the beginning when one doctor came and talked to me, once he was back at home, there were several times where we tried to get him into straight from, and we'll get into the full timeline, but straight into this inpatient rehab facility, and every time it was a no. And then the final time when it was, listen, we're actually considering allowing him to do this. We think he might be ready in certain areas. However, we have seen the power of you three, and so many people poured into us too with that. Of you guys cannot underestimate you three and what you are to him and his healing, and how you've impacted him.
And nobody's seen anybody like us. We're definitely a rarity.
And I'm not really sure why.
Seriously, why aren't more people like this? Why don't you take care of your people?
Which maybe that's a good thing, because as they listen to this, they're going to want us committed. Right?
Yeah.
But so it's a good thing. But we are rare in the way that we show up to love. That is, we're willing, I'll leave it at that.
We fight hard for the people that we love and care about.
Yeah. And we're learning to fight for ourselves in that same way, which has been hard to say, like, hey, we need to take care of ourselves as well. And so, when the doctor said this, we believe that he's only going to be able to do this in recovery to the best extent if you quit your job. And I heard what he said. I knew it was coming, because we created great relationships with every doctor at Metro. Like, some of them, we sobbed when it was time to have him discharged, because they cared for us, not just for Luke, but they cared for our well-being, our mental health as well, and our hearts in ways that, again, I've never experienced in that type of medical professional community. And so, and I've been sick most of my life. But I didn't hesitate. I said yes. But I can remember having a frog in my throat and not being able to swallow. Like, so the first time that I responded to the doctor, who we had already gotten to know really well, I was that quiver in my voice. And he just raised his eyebrow and he looked at his colleague, and he just kind of put his hand on my shoulder and squeezed it. And he's like, you guys can do this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And then he left. We talked more, but he left. And I remember sitting down on the couch and thinking, oh my gosh, why aren't they here? I just need to talk to them. There's so many questions. And then it was just, when you guys came, it was just immediate, no, it's good. We got this. And so it's been really awesome to have you guys both, but yeah, especially. I mean, Anthony, I love you. You're my boy blue. But this wifey here, yeah, I could absolutely not do what I do on every level because it's spiritual, it's physical, it's mental, relational, and so you literally, we see the worst of each other in ways that no one has ever seen. And we're also great comedic relief too. Maybe not to Luke, and I know that our roommate...
We make way too many inappropriate jokes for him.
We're very inappropriate. Guys, we are dirty. We are very sexual beings, and we make a lot of dirty jokes.
That guys make raunchy-ass jokes. You haven't spent a day with us.
It's really ridiculous, and it errs on the side of you need to get a grip. But we find each other comical, so...
I think we're hilarious.
I do too.
Yeah.
Hashtag hilarious. Is that even a thing, people saying hashtag?
I don't think so.
I'm old.
You can't say that because that makes me old too.
But I'm so much older.
No, but it doesn't feel like that.
It doesn't. That's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Not even with music. That's the other thing. We created a playlist for Luke because, again, we researched everything. Luke, music was
a big part
of his life.
80% of his
life. Yeah, always sharing playlists and music with people. So we created a playlist for him because that was something that was important for us to have available to him, or playlists, whether we were at the hospital or not, of different types of music because he's very eclectic in his taste.
Yeah.
And so we had a little bit of everything, but it was funny because we created the joint playlist and you can see who added. So it was me and Anthony who started it, and then we invited friends to be a part of it. But there would be so many that would be like, oh, I added this. No, I added this one. And then we realized, wow, we actually have a lot of the same music taste. I don't know why that shocked me so much, but it did.
Yeah. We listened to about everything. Except for country. We could not put any country on his playlist, but we still...
I think there's one.
Maybe.
And it's because Sal told me it was a Billy Currington song. Because he likes the riff in it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so gratitude. We'll come back to gratitude a lot because I think any time we talk about a group or a specific experience, there will be gratitude because we do make that foundational. And we try to affirm... we actually affirm Luke all the time. We also have really hard come to Jesus conversations with him every day.
Yes. I'm sure he's sick of.
We often joke that he's going to write a book because Luke is a phenomenal writer. He thinks that he is not. But let me tell you, when this first happened...
He's very eloquent.
He is, and he's deep. He is such a deep person. I actually wish that there were more men. I remember... Before this, he's helped me through so much, but I was in the dating scene trying to date and was trying to figure out even what I wanted out of it. But I remember just being, are there people like, I don't think there are people like you. You're just this upstanding guy, your goals. And obviously he's not perfect and he had his faults for sure in relationships, but ultimately he's such a great man. And I've had a difficult time finding a man. I've only had experiences with boys. And so we've had to have these really hard conversations with him, but it's always kind of, we go back to, like, you're going to write a book. There's this story that you're writing, and we've often joked, though, that there's going to be like a whole chapter just on reveal all.
The two dumb bitches that helped me walk again.
Yeah, the reveal all, because there are parts of us, he already had to deal with knowing about every aspect of my life. There would be times where he'd be like, okay, sis, I don't want to hear this right now. Because I would literally tell him everything. But now, he's, oh my gosh.
Yes.
So.
I can't wait until he can talk again and then just ream us a new one.
I know.
Because we're in for it, and I can't wait.
I know. I will. Yeah, he's also a talker.
I miss the talking, the constant not being able to interject, and just the constant.
Because he would get so passionate and he would just go, and there was never an opportunity for you to stop. And you'd either be like, okay, well, I better sit down. Do I have my water with me? But you'd also be like, I'm here for it because he was so animated about everything.
He was, and he was animated. He was knowledgeable. He had facts. Like he would pull shit up on his phone to like back him up on his stories. Unparalleled.
Yeah, so there will be a book for sure forthcoming. You can pre-save your copy now. But no, he's very insightful. He would share journal entries with me or things that he wrote that I would always be like, dude, were you on drugs when you wrote this? And he's like, no.
Just in his sad boy feelings.
Yeah, he's just very, he's an amazing person. But so I'm sure I will get a lot of heat for this, but at the time, needing to find documents, that is something I would like to talk about. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you don't have children. I don't care if you're not married. I don't care if you are not in a serious relationship. If you are just a cat person on your own, hoarder never leaves their house.
Get your papers in order, please.
Get your
wishes in order.
Get your wishes. Assign someone power of attorney. Get a will together, because I love my brother, but he was unorganized when it came to that. And
have your passwords written down.
It has been such a form of stress for me, even now. But it took months, and thankfully, another huge shout out and gratitude. The attorneys that we have been amazing. They have not only served as professional advice to me and legal counsel and taking care of things, they've also been therapists for me, and they've gone out of their way to check on me and see how my heart and head are doing. And they're very exceptional. And so don't wait for something bad to happen, because I know that a lot of people are like, I'm young, it doesn't matter. Give your mom, your dad, your best friend, write it on a Post-it note and put it underneath, I don't know,
somewhere.
Your mirror somewhere in your bathroom, your passcode to your phone, at least. Passwords to your iCloud. I know like people want their privacy, but when it's your time, most people don't get the luxury of having it planned and knowing when it's going to happen. It's unexpected. And if you don't have that stuff in order, you are leaving that for someone that cares about you to take care of.
On top of them having to grieve.
And it is traumatic, and it is hard. And in the process of having to find documents and get the information that I need and try to hack into any of his things, and my brother literally has his degree in computer science, so he has multiple devices, all with different unique passwords that would never be anything guessable.
No.
It just proved to be a lot. And so, yeah, get your shit in order. I just had to do that soapbox. I'll put it away now.
I like your soapboxes.
I have so many.
I know.
You like them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like his soapboxes. It's like very...
We are very similar in some ways.
Yeah.
But so Anthony and I are very similar too.
Yeah, but he doesn't soapbox. He
beatbox. Is it beatbox or beatboxes? He beatboxes?
He beatboxes?
Beatbox. Beatbox I.
Is it plural?
It's past our bedtime. We're trying this. There will...
After a long day of doing things, we chose to do this when our brain power is at 0.
Yeah, but sometimes our brain power also goes at night. And we both start texting.
And being super manic when we should be sleeping.
And then we're up till 3 or 4, and we wonder why we need coffee to survive. Oh, wait, can you please tell So, one of the other things that we've learned, sidebar, remember the iPhone thing. I want you to talk about the codependency with the iPhone thing.
Oh,
I want to get to that. But
yeah.
Something in me that I had been working on for a good 5-6 years was that I was someone who loved, like I was addicted to having people codependent on me. And when I realized that, probably like 8 years, no, maybe now it's been 10 years, but I didn't really start working on it intentionally and for real, probably until like 4 or 5 years ago. Luke was one of the people that was foundational in helping hold me accountable to that and calling me out. And Anthony was always good at calling me out. That is the good thing about our siblings. We just call each other out on shit. And living with Luke, it just created that dynamic for him to really be able to see up close and personal, and he knew all my skeletons. And seeing me through the dating experience, through getting a divorce, through health stuff, he was able to see. But growing up, I played the role of stepping in as the older sister, but really doing a lot for the family and at a young age. And I just began thriving and really having that be the measure in which I thought my worthiness was, and love was having people codependent on me. And at the time I was not even aware that that was a thing, but that rolled into my romantic relationships and even some of my just platonic relationships with people. And I got really good at just not really allowing anyone to really see me. I was just this chameleon who always knew everybody else inside and out. No one really knew me that well. And I was able to always serve them what they needed so that I always was needed. Mm-hmm. And so I'd gotten, I would say for a good 3 years, I was in a really good place with it, but there had been things that he saw recently before the accident that he was calling me out on shit. And we started having really deep, long conversations into 4 o'clock in the morning about it and things that he noticed in himself. But we talked about just, we both have that tendency to want people to be codependent on, but then in other ways we're codependent on people for different things as well.
Oh, yeah.
And this scenario, right away, I mean, it was probably early. I want to say this was still, we put things in time of like where we were at Buffalo time, right? So yeah. I think this was when we were still in Buffalo that we looked at each other and said, we're going to have to be really careful because we've become codependent. Because when one of us would leave each other, the despair that it felt like we couldn't go on.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. And it's
the separation anxiety, like
it's something I actually wanted to talk about tonight because I was having a panic attack last night at home.
Being separated?
Yeah.
From me and Luke?
Yeah. And just being here. Because I'm here all the time. I'm here all day, every day. And then the short blips where I go home, it's just...
Yeah.
Anthony was sleeping. And I was like, I'll be fine. Like, let me get ready for bed. And then I laid in bed for, like, 2 hours, not being able to, like, breathe. My tongue went numb. I'm gonna have a stroke and I'm gonna be dead from a panic attack, and Anthony's gonna wake up and I'm gonna be dead next to him because I'm literally like my heart was jumping out of my chest.
Yeah,
and that's not healthy.
I think anyone that's listening, you can sit here thinking and judging and being like, wow, they're manic, they need help, and yes, we're aware of this, and it's something that we call out in each other a lot. But yeah, I'm glad that early on we realized that. And same thing. So we take turns sleeping next to Luke. I think I mentioned that already, but so there will be days on end sometimes where I'm not sleeping in my bed, and same with you. Like, you know, we're not sleeping in our own beds. And then even just sometimes going down into my room while like you or Anthony are up here, there's times where I'm like, should I go sleep on the couch? And it's very unhealthy. I'm glad it's something that we recognize in each other and are able to interrupt and be like, no, because I think that's huge.
Yeah, and we need those times away for ourselves, but it's like, we got to get through the hurdle.
Yeah, we have to talk ourselves, use our breathing, use all the tools that we have in our toolbox to work through that discomfort and those attacks that we have. But we know that on the other side of this next chapter, whatever that may look like, when he doesn't need our caregiving, we know we've literally given up everything, and to an extent this has had to become our identity. Mm-hmm. And so we're already and have been having conversations of like, what are we doing now to prepare us to be healthy in all the facets for the future. Like, we need to be healthy now, we need to be healthy there, and what habits are we curating to nourish that? And so that's been really hard. But yeah, so the one night she left, and I think she was maybe gone for a few minutes, and I think I texted her something.
I just hit the freeway.
I snapped her, like, we're big into Snapchat. Yeah,
you called me.
An episode of Supernatural.
I was gone for 2 seconds.
That is not a lie. And next thing I know, she's showing me. Yeah, I don't.
Because I screenshot it, what it said, because I'm new to iPhone within the past 2 years, but I still have never seen my phone do this.
I think I found it.
Oh yeah, here we go. So I get off the phone with her, and I have my phone mounted at the car, and I see this notification that looks like a text. And I'm like, I shouldn't have text. And it says, start a check-in with Chrissy. Let them know when you arrive at your destination. It was a Siri suggestion. I have never gotten that before. I've only gotten it with her. Because our phones are together all the time.
And I've gotten it one time for you. So, the other thing with that, too, I don't know.
You get the same ads?
That's a whole thing.
That's a meta hole.
They're always listening and watching, and they're in our brains.
Yeah. We'll think about, I'll think about something, it'll pop up on her phone. She will have a text conversation with somebody about some device. I'm getting ads for it on my phone. We never talked about it. It was never spoken, but Meta knows somehow.
But yeah, so that's crazy. And a couple things with that. So I have always been very neurotic. And in the family, I think that up until this, every one of you probably thought, get a grip, Kristina. You do not need to know where we are all at all times, because we in general were a very communicative group. But I would say that I was probably the one that talked to all of you all the time.
You are the bridge between the siblings.
And yes, and so I always knew what was going on in everybody's life, all the time, because I like the tea too. But from a very young age, I witnessed a really bad friend growing up dying in a car accident. And since then, I had also witnessed other people I loved get in accidents and sustaining injuries. And so I had always had this deep-rooted fear of losing one of my siblings in a car accident. And so for as long as any of them can remember, anytime they were going anywhere, it was always a be safe. And I didn't just say it because it was repetitive. I literally every time would say it with this quiver of fear of if something happened. And that's not a good quality. That's not something I'm proud of about myself. But it was real. And my sisters knew how intense and deep-rooted that was. He knew. I think you and Anthony probably knew. But it would always be me texting, hey, I haven't heard from you. Did you get to your destination? Especially if I know the patterns of when someone communicates, text, calls, whatever, responds to things, and they don't. Whether they're going on a trip, a drive to work, or they're at home, I immediately sit there going, oh my gosh, something's wrong. I don't go to, they're ignoring me, they're mad at me. Yeah. Some people do that. I immediately go to, something happened.
Worst case scenario.
And again, not a quality I admire about myself. But we literally, minutes before, so he and I shared each other's location. We always had, and then I do with my sisters. But so he and I would, all the time, check each other's locations. And it would be funny because he would be like, you've already had Starbucks twice today. I would get a text, or this is what I do all the time. What did I tell you? I cannot eat on this chair, didn't I?
Yeah.
Tell them about the bit.
Tea.
Tell them about the bit.
Oh, so when we were in New York, first off.
Oh, look,
let's go all the way back.
It's like water repellent.
When we were back in New York, we spent a lot of time in the waiting room, and you were really messy. So one day.
Messy with what?
Food. The one day, she literally took one of the plastic grocery bags and put it on like a bib. I was like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna get you a bib. Yeah. I bought her an adult-sized bib that just says, I fucking spill everything.
I haven't worn it.
You probably should.
I probably should, but when we got these awesome chairs, which Luke helped us pick out, I said, Nicole, I can't eat things. I didn't say I can't drink. I said I can't eat things.
Yeah.
And that would be why. So you're welcome. You get to see
the realness.
Yeah, the realness.
The everyday.
But, so yes. So I am really crazy about locations, and I was looking at his location like crazy. That night, he knew I think my text to him was when he told me he was leaving to get on the road. I was like, be safe, let me know when you get there. And then he didn't let me know, so I was texting him like, are you guys at the show? Where are you at? Are you at the Airbnb? So it was him being like, yeah, sorry, But we were in the middle of texting when the accident happened. And so it was just one of those things that in my head, as I was brushing my teeth, it was literally me being like, Kristina, calm down. He's with a group of friends. They were about to head back to the Airbnb. They're having fun. Everything's fine. And then as I'm brushing my teeth, talking myself down, like 20 minutes later, Anthony calls, and I literally fell to my knees because I knew. And that is just, it's something that was really crazy. So then
I had the same thing that night.
Yeah, right. You had that same feeling. Yeah, we talked about that.
We were ordering food at the Airbnb, and I was like, we're getting fucking Taco Bell. Luke's gonna want Taco Bell. And it was taking them a while.
They should have been there.
Jordan had, thankfully, his location.
And that was just a recent thing, and that was a joke, because I was like,
I texted him.
Like, your boyfriend needs to have your location. Like, you need to have someone else other than me have your... What if something happens to me? Like...
Yeah.
Have your guy, you're in love with this man, let him have your location. And so that they had just done that, I think.
Yeah, and then I started freaking out, and Jordan's like, well, I have his location, it's right over there, we're about to leave. He's like, let me just go check.
Yeah.
So calm you down. I was like, all right. Yeah. I was like, I have literally the worst feeling, and I'm always a person in my brain, I go to worst case scenario. So we get a call from Jordan. He's like, hey, I'm where the location says, and there's cop cars. He's like, I can't get anywhere. You guys need to get here now.
I'm turning off the alarm for his match because it's about to go off. But yes.
And when we pulled up, and I ran out of the car and saw it in the background, like I've already seen him in an accident.
Yeah.
I have literally watched in the rearview mirror as
dramatic.
like
it was nothing like this.
Another car hit him in my car.
Yeah.
And like running down like the freeway.
And that was terrifying.
And that was horrible.
Yeah.
And then running out of the car, it was like bringing back that shit. But then I didn't have time to process anything.
It just, you went into... Well, and so all of this has led to, like, all of us as siblings, maybe not Michael, maybe, but the rest of us, I think it had been not even day 2, because we've gone by day marks, is what day it is, but I think it was day 2, and I was distraught because I'm like, I don't know why, but I think I was crying to Anthony or you, and I was like, no one has my location now. Who's going to have my location? He's my emergency contact. He's my location person. I have nothing and no one. I felt like it was just the end, and you were already on it. I've been wanting us to have this app anyhow. We're fucking doing it.
I made all of the siblings get on Life 360.
All of you, and I was like, give it to me. And I think that
it's got crash detection. It gives you driving reports. I know all of your incidents. Miss Heartbreaking. Hit curbs. In his car. With him in it.
One time.
You should have seen Luke's face. He was so pissed.
We were, first of all, you make it sound horrible. We were in a Panera parking lot.
We were in a parking lot, okay, and she, like, made a turn and, like, went over the curb.
I have no excuse.
But I've done it, so I can't talk shit.
His face. He's already over. I think this has been an hour. I think we're already hitting an hour.
Do we need to wrap it up? Director?
Wrap it up.
Do we need to wrap it up? Thumbs up if we should wrap up, bud.
But yeah, so we now, not all of us, actually, no.
He's like, yes.
All of our siblings are not on it. I will not call you out.
There's one of you out there.
Well, but one of them also just has it.
Turns it off.
Locations.
You have your location. You have your location services off.
What are you guys up to that you
We've
don't
been
want
trying
us
to
know?
reach you about your car's extended warranty. Turn your fucking location services on.
But so I think that the people that I have hung out with briefly, which is not a lot since all this happened, I'll constantly be opening the app to be like, where is so-and-so? A, because I'm nosy as fuck. But because I need to know that you are where you're at, especially like, again, all of you have patterns of how you reply to communication, depending on, are you with the kids, are you with the hubs, with your partner, are you sleeping, are you shitting? I know when the patterns are, and if one of you is not responding in the way of which your pattern is,
fashion,
then I'm like,
speaking.
What?
Talking about fucking locations, she goes on errands earlier. I look at your location, it's off.
Because I turned it off because of the tracking thing from my trip recently when you told me to turn it off.
It was like last updated an hour ago and you're right over there. I was like, we're not doing this again. I was like, if she does not come home by the time I'm done with smoking this cigarette, I'm flying off. And then she pulls in.
That's why you
and
asked me what you did when I got home.
Yeah, so I'm like, bitch, I looked at your location, it was off.
No, because I like to put, when we are driving, I like to put directions on for Luke so that he knows when we're going to arrive, where we're going. He has the time of things. And so I needed to turn it on for us leaving earlier. And then, so that's funny. But yes, so I have to turn it on, but we were worried about someone
tracking her.
That's a whole other thing. But anyhow, so yes, there are times where I'll turn it off because someone has access to my phone right now. And so I go off the grid. Usually I only do that when I'm with you.
Yeah.
So I can understand. I am sorry, Nicole.
It's okay.
I was not.
That's why I asked the question. That's why I asked the question that I asked.
Dirty. Dirty pop. But yeah, so I think we'll wrap this episode up.
Yes.
Yay gratitude, yay kinks of all kinds. Figuring them out, enjoying them, whatever that may be.
Yes.
And
get your shit together.
Yeah. Give people you love your location, your passwords, to the important things, and at the very least, have things written out on a piece of paper, easily to find by a loved one, with all of your information.
Because you never know.
No.
You literally never know. And this happens all the time. You're like, oh, it'll never happen to me. It'll never happen to anybody I know. Literally just happened again with a neighbor.
Literally. The amount of people that I have lost in my lifetime is too many. And I'm old, but I'm not that old. But even since this, we've known a lot of people. So anyhow, get your shit together. And also, be self-aware. Like, what do you need to work on? We have so much to work on and get our shit together.
At least we know what we need to work on. We're not, closed off and blind to it. We know what we have to do and what we need to do to work through it. It's just putting in the work.
And a lot of times we get it wrong and we mess up and we try to give ourselves grace and compassion and space to try again and love. But here's to, what does our tea bag say?
That's because you just talked about grace, giving ourselves some grace and compassion. Serve all in truth, in compassion, and in grace.
Aww, it's such a quote for it. I love that.
It fits perfectly.
It does. What does mine say? Give to others and give to yourself the same attention. Wow, this is on point.
All right.
I love it. If anyone would like to sponsor us, feel free. We love tea. We love coffee.
Yes, coffee. Caffeine.
Yeah, that's it. Should we? I feel like we should have a thing we do to say goodbye to people. No? Goodbye? This is it? The end?
Goodbye. The end.
The end. Okay, this
concludes our Mushy Pod. Thank you to Luke and Rio for being our guests.
Yes. Sayonara.